Thomas, it's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Champions.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very welcome, everybody, to the Arsenal Lounge. Very special episode. As you can see, I'm back. I'm very happy to be back.
Yeah, that was smooth, Shaheen. That was really smooth.
Yeah, it's your fault. It's your fault for that little thing you came up with before we go live. Ooh, you're back and you want to be doing this. So Lev just threw me off my thing a little bit. But yeah, I've been away. I've had to deal with a few things. I'm glad I'm back. I missed everybody that is here. I've missed you guys. I've seen the comments that you guys left for me, and I'm very, very grateful and I'm touched. I didn't think anybody would miss me. Anybody would even notice. But I'm very grateful. Thank you. And I'm happy to be back. A special thank you to Lev, who's done superb in my absence. He's managed to keep things going. And I'm happy and I'm grateful to you as well for keeping things going. And yeah, how are you, Lev? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good, Shaheen, man. Like, why don't you tell us where you've been? Where have you been, Shaheen?
I've had to deal with a few things.
Where have you been? Everyone wants to know. Like, everyone in the chat.
Just here. I haven't been anywhere. I just dealt with a few things, bits and bobs.
It's very cagey. Very cagey. Yeah, something sounds suspicious.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Deal with it. Moving on. How are you, Mo? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. But you're not doing yourself any favors by being this cagey, because today of all days on Arsenal Twitter.
I know, man. I brought back some excitement for you guys.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, today of all days on Arsenal Twitter, to try and explain an absence in such a cagey manner is only going to raise suspicion.
I've had to deal with some family stuff. That's it.
All right, sure, whatever you say, man. I just don't know with you.
Is it like this, Mo? Yeah. After all me and you've been through, you
look
now, yeah?
Oh, he's already hit you with that one. He's already hit. How long have you been here? Like, you haven't even done 2-3 minutes. You're already hitting. With everything I've done for you. No, just get on with it, Shaheen.
Let's see if I can do any better with Tom. Tom, my friend, how are you?
I'm very good, mate. I've missed you, man. I mean, you should have seen the host that we've had the last couple of weeks.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. You see, Left face.
That was worth it. It was worth it. He knows I'm joking. Yeah. He knows I love him, really. He's fine.
You should hear what he says about you behind your back, Shaheen. He's been saying all these nice things to me. He comes on here and, mate, don't. Do you know what? Whatever.
Tom is good. Listen,
whatever, man. Let's
get things going. I can see everybody on the chat. They want to talk about AFTV and DT, and we will talk about AFTV and DT. I will assure you, because it's an Arsenal-related topic, and obviously it's one that is close to Mo. And I know he's got a few things to say about it. I know Lev's got quite a few things to say about it as well. So please,
I didn't even know we were having this chat. What are you talking about? You stitching
bear with us now. Bear with us. No, listen, man. It's news. It's Arsenal-related news. So why not? It's one of the supporters. It's one of people that everybody knows. So we will touch base on it. So bear with us. We will talk about it. Right. Where do we start? Should we start from the Liverpool game? Yeah? You guys happy? Yeah? So
he's forgotten how to host, isn't he?
He's
been away.
He just doesn't
on mute, Mo. I was going to say, which Liverpool game? The one that never happened or the one that did happen?
Or the one that did happen and the one that potentially may not happen. So let's start about the last one that went, the 0-0 draw, the one that Klopp was moaning about and everything. And we'll come to the North London derby, and then we'll come to the news that came out today. So what was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, what I was going to say, that even before the 0-0 draw, the what Liverpool did to make that game not be the second leg in the first place is very interesting, because all of these false positives and everything like that, and they. It's funny because Arsenal go from slating Liverpool fans and Liverpool, the club, because of what they did, to then some people kind of accusing us of doing it ourselves with the Tottenham game. But, that's sort of like the very lazy headline. When you actually get into it, Arsenal have followed every rule with complete honesty And yes, whilst the rules are a joke, and I have to admit that due to one COVID case, Arsenal being able to postpone the North London derby is a joke. But I'm glad Arsenal did it, because Arsenal, as I said on Twitter, have got one job. That one job is to look after their own interests in accordance with the rules. So provided you're doing that, maximizing your chances of winning games without being dishonest or breaking any rules, that's what Arsenal need to do. Liverpool, on the other hand, is one of those ones where I'm really not sure what's gone on with the way they managed to postpone the first leg. There was meant to be an investigation, then there wasn't an investigation. There were loads of false positives. The training ground opened the very next day. It seemed very off to me. Whilst with Arsenal's one, as much of a joke as it is, that's a reflection of the rules that the Premier League have come up with, rather than Arsenal being dishonest in any way. So I just wanted to get that distinction out there early. But then as for the actual game, I've never enjoyed a 0-0 more, or never felt more proud after a 0-0. It was a real proper team's performance that seemed to really believe that even though we're down to 10 men against a team of Liverpool's quality, we can still
at Anfield.
Absolutely, yeah. So really proud.
Very good. Lev, what about you?
I think Mo's pretty much said it all, really. It's laughable, the double standards that Arsenal get. As a team, we've seen all these games getting cancelled left, right, and centre. The minute it's Arsenal, it's all over Twitter, it's all over social media, and for the first time, it's galvanised the fan base. I'm sensing that, so I'm loving that feeling. I'm loving the fact that as a fan base, we're actually fighting off everybody else, and we're starting to realise that the media are at us and everyone's at us, and we do get treated differently. Performance-wise, that really, for me, was also compounded on the pitch, the way we played. You know, we went down to 10 men. Teams of old, Arsenal would have capitulated. This particular bunch was galvanized. They galvanized. It seemed like they felt they were hard done by. I do agree it was a red with Xhaka, but however, you could say it was a bit harsh, in my opinion.
Was it a harsh red, Lev, or the ref could have been a bit more lenient? Because I've looked at this, right, and I see the ball is coming in, right, and Xhaka is seeing the ball and he's coming in and he's trying to obviously. Am I trying to justify something that is not justifiable?
Do you know what? When I first saw it happen, I was under the impression it was a bit harsh, because it's one of them. The ball comes over the top, and if you're keeping your eye on the ball, if you're doing your job properly, you won't know until the last second when you try to clear it if a man's making a late run. However, in hindsight, wait. Well, this is where I'm getting at. Hindsight, when you look back at the footage, hindsight's a wonderful thing. And when you got video footage and all of that, you can do that. You can see a couple of times that Xhaka looks over his shoulder and sees Jota there. So he knows he's there. And if he doesn't know he's there right at the end, then you should still question Xhaka, his mentality for switching off in the first place. It did seem a bit harsh. Does his name, his reputation precede him? Yes, it does. However, in the cold light of day, it was a penalty. However, then you could argue we were very harshly treated throughout, and the way we reacted and the way we defended, and the fact that we even had a couple of chances as well in that as well. For me, it was, like Mo said, it was one of the best draws I've ever seen. We were in a long time. It really, a lot of us were pumped after that draw, because we were all expecting the same thing: a capitulation, a 5-0 battering after that. After 20 minutes of getting someone getting sent off.
Okay, Tom, do I have a point or no? It's just I'm just trying to.
I agree with you. I didn't think it was a red card. I said it at the time. I said it the next morning upon reflection. And the reason why is if they gave it for serious foul play, which had been like a 3-match ban or 4 with the additional one of the red card, I would have not really had too many arguments, because I think there's a solid argument to say that Xhaka's high foot in the chest of Jota and that. But they didn't give it for that. They gave it for the denial of a clear goal-scoring opportunity, hence why Xhaka's only got a 2-match ban rather than a 4-match ban. And in my mind, Jota's touch, when he touches it down, is going to reach Ramsdale far easier than Jota's going to run onto it. And I think it's covered. I think that there is a strong argument to suggest that it's covered. Anyway, it was given as a red card. And the ironic false positive narrative joke that was told afterwards of that red card led to Arsenal putting on a very strong defence performance. I mean, if there's one thing that Arteta's done and improved us, it is defensively since he's taken over. And I think that was on show. And we've been, I think we can all admit, we've all been very critical of Arteta's in-game management throughout his time at the club. But actually, in this game, he got the changes and the switches and the formation structure and the restructure of how he went and bringing on the players that he did completely spot on for the task at hand. And we dealt with it very well. I don't think that's the way that which we need to play going forwards to get to where we want to. But when we were under the cosh and we were a man down against a side like Liverpool, even without Mane and Salah, still got a lot of quality in that team. We dealt with it. And again, like Mo and Lev have said, I was so up for, getting that draw and digging in and getting that.
We deserved that.
Huge. We did. Absolutely.
Yeah, we deserve that.
And a good bit of shithousery as well. Pardon my French, but I'm starting to love the fact that we're playing the same games as some of these others. Like, why haven't we? You can't sit back and be nice like we've been doing, just getting sand kicked in your face all the time. That Liverpool game, like Mo said, they abandoned it. We had to go travel the first leg away instead of playing at home, right? No one questions that. So you know what? Damn good. It piles on a fixture list to our opposition who are struggling at the moment. They might have games in hand, but pile on that all those extra games in hand and let them struggle with playing 3 or 4 games in a week. It's about time we've done something like that. I'm pretty happy with it.
Mo, you signed to the notion that it was a harsh red, or you think no, it was a red and Xhaka is absolutely at fault?
Look, it's a red on both counts for me. Denial of a goal scoring opportunity or a dangerous play. And I think that is always going to be one of those ones where you can't really say for sure whether Jota would have got to the ball or not. Because at the game, I saw, even in real time, Ramsdale kind of go and then stop, and very hard to judge when there's so many moving parts in that situation. But anyway, what I would say is that with Granit Xhaka, I'm hugely frustrated. Yet again, is Granit Xhaka, but there's a difference in this red card to some of the other ones. In this particular situation, unlike many of the other red cards he's got, where you would say it wasn't necessary, why did he do it? I think on this occasion, we could all understand why he had to take sort of urgent, desperate action because of the fact that it was last man, and you would likely go a goal down if he doesn't do that. But earlier on you were talking about did he know that Jota was there and that sort of thing. And for me, the point is you should always know that someone is there. You're playing elite level football. There is always going to be someone there. You are not going to get it uncontested. And the thing is, if he thought there was a chance that no one was there, you would never try and intercept the ball at that height. You would always wait. You'd always wait for it to come down, control it in a more controlled fashion, even let it bounce, drift out, whatever. He knew. That's why he took evasive action. And given that he knew, his foot shouldn't have been that high. So that argument, for me, kind of falls flat on its face. This is Granit Xhaka's flaws in his game. His lack of common sense in those moments where I saw Aaron Ramsdale go and then stop, because in that split second, he made a risk assessment. This is what Granit Xhaka doesn't do. He's good on the ball in terms of spraying the ball around, but off the ball is where he lacks. We saw against Man City, he couldn't tackle Bernardo Silva clearly. Again, in those pressure moments, doesn't make the right decisions. And it's off the ball when it comes to the tackling, the positioning, all this sort of stuff. He just seemed to let himself down. But at least on this occasion, it wasn't like Man City where he seemed to just absolve himself of his duties. He was trying to do the right thing on this occasion. So he gets a little bit of sympathy from me in that it was not one of the worst red cards, but still not good enough and still happens all too frequently.
I know you play a bit of football, Mo, and I know Lev and Tom do as well. What would you have done if you were Granit Xhaka?
I think for me, I would have tried to get my body in the way. So instead of stretching with my leg, I would have gone shoulder to shoulder or made it appear as though it was more of a coming together rather than a challenge. So, when you talk about giving the referee a decision to make, this is a clear example. He's put his foot in his chest ultimately. He's given the referee the decision to make and made it very easy. If, for example, you make it look like to the ref, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, who came into who, both going for the ball, then I think that's a much more difficult decision to make. Yeah. And you take out the sort of like violent or the dangerous play element out of the equation. So that's what I would have done in that situation.
What would you have done, Lev?
Look, knowing the ball's up in the air, playing football, you know that guy still has quite a lot of work to do to chest it down, bring it into his touch, and then assess the situation really quickly with a goalie coming out, and then he's still got quite a lot to do. So if I was in that situation, I was poorly positioned. Well, firstly, I wouldn't have been in that situation, because I think where Xhaka suffers is pace and mobility. All right. And even though he was in the right position, he still struggles to react quick enough. Jota is a more pacey player. So I personally would have tried, knowing in his position, if I'd got myself in that position, waited for him to try and chest it down and use that moment to try and position myself in a way to put him off, block him, and just overall, just get in his way and bother him. If he scores, you still got 11 men on the field, but he still had a lot to do. I would have waited for him to try and chest it and bring it down, and I would have tried to tackle him at that moment rather than try and clear it in one go.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree too much with what the boys have said. I would have definitely called Ramsdale as well to come forwards to try and take some of the pressure, because I feel like Ramsdale possibly could have, if he'd have read it, intercepted it as well. But yeah, you don't dive in like Xhaka did. You don't, as Mo said, you don't try and intercept the ball in that height. You continue your run. You try and block off the player. You get ball side and goal side of the situation. It was just naive, but he's what, 29, 30 now. He's not going to change. This is what we know, what we've come to expect from Granit Xhaka. And until we replace him, we can always expect that this is something that can happen.
Okay, fair enough. Wayne, thank you very much for your kind super chat, my friend. Wasn't a red for dangerous play for me. If McArthur didn't get even a yellow for kick on Saka, Xhaka shouldn't get a red for that.
Well, on that though, it's not that they're disputing that lack of consistency. I think we all agree with Wayne on the consistency, but they both should have been red. So we should have got consistency.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you know what? I'm gonna, I like asking you guys this question with one word, yes or no answers. Lev, I'll start with you. Do you think Arsenal are unlucky when it comes to referees' decisions? Do you think? Let me word it better. Do you think the referees are a bit biased when it comes to Arsenal?
Yes
or no?
100% yes.
Mo?
How about some Arsenal players, Mo?
Look, the thing is, if you asked every fan of every club this, wouldn't they all say yes? Isn't that just the way we think? I don't know.
It is, but I do think there's an element of
saying.
I think there's an element of behaviour profiling, like with players like Granit Xhaka, who kind of, have got this rep. Like if, say, I don't know, Harry Kane made the tackle that, Granit Xhaka did, he probably wouldn't have been sent off in that moment, and we've seen that. So I think maybe that.
But then don't we also have those players that would get not maybe as good treatment as Harry Kane, but similar? I can't imagine Bukayo Saka ever just being given a red for no bloody reason, like Granit Xhaka. Sometimes you see refs give that to him.
Is that a yes or no?
I think yes. Shaheen, I think yes, but my caveat is that I'm biased, so that's why I think so.
Okay, Tom, is that a yes as well from you?
I'd agree with Mo. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a full house. It's a full house. Alexander Klapov, thank you very much for your kind super chat, my friend. It was red because if it was Saka on the end of the tackle, we would have been screaming clear red. Took the player out, didn't get the ball. That's obviously, that is a point as well. Moving on from that game, talking about North London derby, and I think for the first time, we are seeing this new ruthlessness about Arsenal, this streetwise behavior from Arsenal, and I liked it. I'll be honest with you, I liked it from Arsenal. If everybody else is using this loophole or a gap in the rule in their advantage, why shouldn't we? It doesn't make me get away from the fact that we've loaned that Ainsley Maitland-Niles and we're extremely short in midfield. And also, it brings a question in my mind that had Granit Xhaka not got sent off, would we have done what we've done, postponing the North London derby? But I like the fact that we've used something that is there to our advantage. Everybody's having a moan. I don't understand why. Burnley is putting yet again another request for postponement against Watford. I don't have no problem whatsoever with this request from Arsenal to postpone the North London derby. What I do have a question is that we've put in this request. There are talks that we're going to put in this request against Liverpool again for this Thursday. But what are we doing with this time? What are we doing in terms of addressing the issue that we're extremely short in midfield and we're short up front? Nothing has happened. It doesn't seem to be any urgency or any news around the club that we're close in signing a certain player to address the issue. But Lev, I'll start with you. How do you feel about all of this and everything that I said, and the fact that we've actually used something to an advantage that we probably that's not necessarily wouldn't have done before, and we got the game postponed?
Do you know what, right? I think it's a great thing. And there's people in the chat I'm looking at, some are saying, Maximus, hello, bro, how you doing? It's a joke, though. We can't play our favourite player, so we asked for the game to get called up. Hold on a minute, right? Either we're fans of a club or we're not, right? So I think we did the right thing. The other teams are doing it to us. It's being done to you. Your opposition is trying to gain some sort of an advantage by flouting the rules. The rules are there. It's not the clubs that make the rules. Prem makes the rules. If people want to abuse those rules, they're going to. And in a competition scenario where it's it's tough and it's tight and everyone wants to get top 4 and win things, everyone's looking for opportunities. And I think we did the right thing. Personally, right? Look, at the end of the day, Liverpool made us go to Anfield first and play away. We then come back. Then, we get Granit Xhaka sent off with all this stuff going on, and we've got him out as well. Liverpool had, 13 or is it 17? The figure keeps changing. False positives. You expect us to believe that there was teens, 17, 13, whatever number you want to call it, false positives. No one says a peep. I didn't see anyone going mad about that, but suddenly Arsenal do it. So if you want to talk about the bias thing, all you've got to do is look at the reaction there on social media. And the minute Arsenal do something, they're all over us. I think we did the right thing. I think it's great that we've got a manager that is willing to fight dirty if he has to, because you know what? Others are willing to fight dirty. And if you don't, it will come back to bite you. Now we've got time to hopefully get some of these players back for the next leg. Rest as well some of these players that have been playing, and the only thing I will say is I'm disappointed. We've been going on this show for months on end about AFCON looming and the January window. The first thing I would have expected Arsenal to do, even if you do want Vlahovic, which I'm fine, if you want to go for that quality of player, I understand. I'm not stupid. I understand it's going to take time and it's going to be difficult, and it's not a simple deal to get over the line. At least go and get the midfielder first. The minute January window open, go and get a midfielder, solve that issue, cover that area, so whilst you're trying to get the likes of Vlahovic, you can still function. So that's where I think we went wrong. We should have gone all out, got the midfielder first, got that sewn up. We should have known that Vlahovic maybe, or whoever it is that we're going for, is going to take time.
Okay. I see a lot of people in the comments, they're talking about this DT and AFTV thing. We will talk about it, I'll assure you, but we're just going to talk about the more important stuff first. Mo, is there any case against Arsenal in this? This Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher has been going on about it, but when Klopp was crying over some false positive results, I didn't see Jamie Carragher coming out saying, "Oh, we should be playing the game." But is it Arsenal's fault? Should people vent their anger, other fans vent their anger at Arsenal or Premier League? Because Arsenal didn't set the rules. We're just doing what everybody else has been doing.
Exactly that, Shane. You've summed it up really well. People should be angry. People should be fed up and frustrated because this is a farcical situation. One COVID case in Arsenal's entire squad that was confirmed at the time. 8 players on loan. 3 of those central midfielders with Premier League experience. So really people should be saying, it's your fault for not putting a clause in to recall them. You know that COVID's going on, so you should be a bit more sensible with your dealings. If the Premier League said that if you have players on loan that could fill up the quota to get your 13-man match squad plus 1 goalkeeper, then you can't call the game off, then it'd be our own fault. But it's not. And as I said before, this is what people need to really just get through their minds. Arsenal only have one responsibility, and that is looking out for Arsenal's interests. We are not there to apply rules that don't exist. You get no points for being honourable. Football is not an honourable industry. John Terry Luis Suarez, look at some of the stuff that they did. Rio Ferdinand missed a drugs test, comes back, no repercussions. I'm sorry, it happens all the time. And so what is it now that people all of a sudden think that Arsenal should now be this really honourable club and not just adhere to the rules, to the letter of the law? When you're on the pitch, did you see the other day, Leeds had a goal disallowed?
Yeah.
The goal that Leeds had disallowed, a player was offside because he was on the goal line, because as the move progressed, he went ahead of the ball, didn't interfere with play, but as the ball got, as a shot was taken and the ball's then crossed the line, he's on the line, it's touched him and gone in, and because it's touched him, he's involved with play and the goal has been disallowed. He didn't gain any advantage. So any common sense reading of that game would say, no, it's still a goal. But the rules don't work like that. They're not based on like a common sense sort of thing. They're just based on the letter of the law. So if that's how football is played and in every other respect, why can't Arsenal do it? And this is what annoys me about pundits, because it's one thing like opposition fans just trying to rile people up. But when pundits do it, like Stan Collymore, I think to myself, do you even know the rules? Or are you just like really poorly researched? Or I think a vast majority of Arsenal fans will agree, it's a joke. The rules shouldn't allow us to do it. But they do, so we will, and we do not give a crap. Because what we want to do is have our best team out in a game against Tottenham that is not just about 3 points, it's a 6-pointer, and it has huge implications for the summer transfer window and the future trajectory of the clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
Shaheen, can I just also add as well, someone rightfully put in the chat, let's not forget they made us play when we did have our cases and we were obliterated with COVID, right? So where was all the uproar when that happened to us? So do you know what? Good on them.
And look what happened in that game. So we've learned our lesson. We're not going to go and chuck points away. At the end of this season, we might be 6 points away from the fourth place spot. In fact, last season, how many points away did we finish from fourth? It wasn't as many as people think. It might have been 6 or less.
It was 6, yeah.
And the
Especially
point is,
this season.
Yeah, and the point is Brentford and Tottenham, that could have been 2 away games where we've got, an injury hit squad where we could have fought a case to not play it, and that could cost us the end of the season. So I'm glad Arsenal said, you know what, we did it against Brentford and we got punished. We're not getting punished again. Why would we inflict that upon ourselves?
Yeah. Guys, just before I come to Tom, we've got about 600 people watching and we've got about 71 likes.
The hell?
So, if you hit the likes and the likes go about more than 250, 300, I will show you Mo is going to talk about DT and AFT.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us where you'd been. That would have been...
So hit the likes and then we'll come to that topic. Tom, where do you stand on this postponement?
It was my opinion that, like, as the boys have said, we should have played the game. It's my opinion that we should have played that match. But
even though we would have lost? Or
it was my opinion that we should have played, but in the same sense that if it was any other team in the same scenario, they should have played that game. However, I'm not begrudging Arsenal not playing the game because the rules stipulate that Arsenal could request to, postpone the fixture. I wanted the game to go ahead because I wanted to see a North London derby. But, Arsenal positioning themselves through the use of the rules that have been laid out to miss the game, I'm not going to begrudge them of that because, we used the analogy earlier on about the Leeds goal, but if an Arsenal player goes down in the box and they exaggerate contact to win a penalty, am I turning around and saying they're a disgrace? No, I'm celebrating them scoring the penalty. Like, that's what I'm doing. So it's pretty much the exact same thing with this situation. Arsenal have used the system to their benefit, and they've benefited from it. It's as simple as that. Well, we say they benefit. We don't know. We could still go and lose that game when it's rescheduled. Yeah. We don't know. But in the short term, we've benefited in the sense that hopefully we'll have some players back that will allow us to be much more competitive when this fixture comes around. But the reaction to this, specifically targeted on Arsenal, and despite the likes of Gary Neville coming out and saying, trying to caveat things by saying it's not about Arsenal. But the fact is that this reaction has come after Arsenal have done it, after I think 22 other games have been postponed, after the Liverpool controversy. The same amount of energy has not been shown. The Burnley game, Burnley have requested to postpone their game because I mean, it's a game against Watford. I think they requested to postpone a game against Southampton previously as well.
Yeah.
Two key teams that are in a relegation battle with them this season. They've just lost Chris Wood. They've not yet signed a new striker. They themselves are using this to benefit themselves so they can be better prepared in their relegation battle. And yet there is nowhere near the same amount of uproar at Burnley doing this as there is compared to Arsenal. And to be honest, I don't really care because it doesn't matter. We're going to go and play this game. Spurs fans can cry about it. Jamie O'Hara can go and cry about it. I don't care who's crying about it. We're going to go and play this game next time. We might win it. We hopefully have a much better chance of winning it, and I hope we do. And again, we'll just laugh in irrelevant Spurs fans' faces again.
And can I just add that the only difference between what Arsenal have done and what Burnley have done, or the key difference, is that one was on Sky Sports, and Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville did not like it. And the BT Sport one, I've seen I think maybe one tweet from Gary Neville. Where's all the rest? Where's all the videos? Where's all the passionate defenses? Where's all the from this point onwards nonsense? It's not there. And
fair play to Ian Wright as well for calling that out as well. Fair play to him for tweeting.
And this is all driven by their own interests.
Yeah. Thanks, Mitch, for your kind super chat. DT was a me. Wenger was behind this, I swear.
Can you
There's
imagine?
a lot of this funny things are going to come out. But
Oh my days.
listen, I see a lot of people on the comments saying they want to ask questions. Last 10 minutes, we'll put it to you guys in the chat so you can ask any of us any questions that you like. And somebody said that is only 200 people watching. No, this show is broadcasted through Arsenal Lounge and obviously Mo's channel in the same time. So we see the combined figure, which is about 650 here, and not enough likes, unfortunately, on the video. So please do hit the like button. Right, this news that has come out today, right, with regards to DT and AFTV. I'm gonna try to play a little bit of devil's advocate on it if I can, but I think the most important person and the most relevant person to comment on this would be Mo. So Mo, I'm gonna maybe you can start by maybe reading the super chat and then telling us your thoughts.
All right, Naval Nation, thanks a lot, man. Firstly, for the super chat. Do AFTV now need to be addressed about people they employ? Will Arsenal take action against AFTV because of this and shut down AFTV? Because now it's more than just some fan channel because of what's happened. Yeah, do you know, that's a really good point. It's not something I'd really considered in terms of AFTV sort of checking who they employ, but any other organization that takes itself seriously, gets references, does criminal record checks, that sort of thing. So perhaps now they do need to, because it's not even an ordinary organization. It's not that you're just kind of working behind closed doors, in a private firm. What the people do on that channel goes out to millions and millions of people now. So maybe there is that increased burden to make sure that the appropriate people are on there. So, I think it's a really valid point.
I know that you had your differences with AFTV recently with regards to what happened and obviously what you stood for. And with this now coming on, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, do you know what? I think we'll talk about AFTV and we'll also talk about DT. And I think, to be fair to AFTV, you need to draw a line there. There's a separation. They can't be held to account for everything that DT did. And whilst we know, because of the release, on the government website today about DT, we know what he's done, and that can be talked about with certainty because of the fact that that's the justice system. That's now fact. But what we don't know is how much or how little AFTV knew. So some of us might be skeptics here, but we can't say for sure that AFTV knew about it and should have done this or should have done that. I have my suspicions, but it's probably not fair to talk about that as if it's fact. But as for what has happened with DT, I've had differences with AFTV based on my issue with the whole Palestine hoodie, and you guys know about that. We spoke about that at length. I think the thing that really baffles me is that there's been kind of bullying, abuse, anti-Semitism, racism on AFTV, and these things have gone without any sort of repercussions. I wore a Palestine hoodie and I got booted off, and DT has now been convicted of assault, abuse. He's physically assaulted a woman, threatened. He used his child to threaten his ex-partner. I mean, these are some awful things, like really, really twisted things. And I just what I find confusing, and it's not about me, but I just find confusing that I wore a Palestine hoodie, called them out on the fact they tried to stop me wearing it, and I got kicked off. And DT had to do all of that and got kicked off. Yet the racism, the anti-Semitism, all of that sort of stuff has had nothing. And I'm just thinking, where is the policy? Where's the consistency? I don't understand how they make their decisions. But look, if we move away from that, because I said it's not about me, and we just say, let's assume AFTV didn't know about DT. This is DT's thing. AFTV have now come out and said he'll never appear on the channel again. That's obviously the right thing. So at least they've done something right by doing that. And hopefully they'll be a bit more consistent with clamping down on unacceptable behavior in the future, because they're a channel that needs to grow and evolve. And, I think they need some external help to make the right calls, because as I say, the inconsistency suggests they get it wrong far too often.
Yeah, I agree with you as well, and I'm very happy the way you said it, because a lot of people would have expected you to come here ranting and raving AFTV this, AFTV that, but you've given a very mature and calculated response to it, and one that I agree with as well, because if I do something wrong, or if Lev does something wrong, right, and then we get convicted of X, Y, Z, right, it's got nothing to do with the Arsenal lounge. It's a certain individual's action. I understand people's point that they're saying, or they knew, they 100% knew, they're friends and this and that. But AFTV has become such a big platform that I think is one of those things. But whether you do, you don't, you're damned. But either way, Lev, I know you have some interesting thoughts on this as well.
Look, I'm not going to comment.
One that I haven't seen on Twitter around, so it's quite unique when you told me earlier. So, what's your thoughts?
Well, firstly, I'm not going to comment on DT's situation. I don't know him well enough. I don't know his private life, and we're assuming just because he's done something now that maybe he's been doing it all along. I'm aware that people go through bad times. I'm aware that people do bad things when they're going through bad situations. I am not condoning it at all, right? And if everything he's supposedly done, he's done, then he deserves, what's coming to him in that aspect. However, I've become a cynic when it comes to AFTV, and I'll tell you why, right? It's everything they do is never their fault, in my opinion. And I'm just going to say it how it is, okay? They put out tweets blaming the fans for something, not their fault. Claude says something after they've plied him with loads of alcohol, not their fault. It's never their fault. Troops does something, gets treated differently than Claude does.
The thing that Charlene did to Ty.
The thing that Charlene, there's just
alcohol.
Absolutely. There's just not any consistency or ownership, in my opinion, and that's where I'm going with this. There's people on there saying, hold on a minute, they didn't want Mo's narrative on their channel. Well, since when has human rights and things that are massively more important, far more important than football, a narrative? We should be condoning people coming out and and saying, listen, this is not right, this, that, and the other. If we don't speak up throughout history, that's what's happened. Some people saying don't support a narrative. How do you treat a person the same way in the court of law? Let's just say, if this was a court of law, would you treat one person who's abused, battered, and threatened and whatever the same way as somebody who's got a political stance or a view or something to do with human rights? When you come up with the same conclusion, that's where I start to ask questions, because you're promoting Black Lives Matter, you're promoting everything else. Where's one group of people more important than another? My issue with this is ownership from AFTV. You can't always get it right. You can't always do things correctly. And as you grow to be a big animal, things will go wrong in the company. You can't always vet everybody. And these are people that they've known for years. So if someone's circumstances change over time, it's not easy to spot it. But when you've known someone so long, you must surely know something's going on in the background. And that's where I start to have, they've got previous, and the way they handle things, it's just inconsistent and it's dubious. And it's, when it comes down to saving money or saving a sponsorship deal, suddenly they'll make decisions quickly. But when it comes down to one of your biggest, let's be honest, DT's views are probably the biggest, if not around the biggest that Robbie gets from any video. DT's videos go hundreds of thousands. So you got to start asking yourself, did they try to stall this as long as possible? I don't know. But where I do, my issue is how they handle things more than what's going on. Things will always go wrong. It's how you handle it. And Robbie, let's not also forget, when Claude did when he first did, Robbie tried to lie his way out of it and say he didn't say it. And when that didn't wash, then they sold Claude down the river. And I don't know. I just don't like the way they handle things. I don't want to comment on DT. I don't know what happened. If he's done what he's done, it's really, really bad. My issue is it's happening way too much now, and the way they handle it is not consistent, and it's not really reflective of what's happening.
Okay. Wayne says, thank you again, Wayne, for your kind super chat. Can't hold AFTV responsible for DT's actions away from AFTV. If a Walmart employee goes and assaults someone, do we hold Walmart responsible? Point, which is what we've been saying. Sorry, go on.
On that, you would hold Walmart responsible if Walmart knew, or if they didn't take out the due diligence to make sure that they didn't protect their customers from employees with that nature, for example. So there is an onus, but clearly, like Wayne says, you can't blame AFTV for what he's done, but you can look at AFTV and say, well, what did you do to prevent, these associations, for example, or what did you do once you found out? If AFTV have only just found out, then they've taken the correct action. But, as I say, what I'm not going to do, right? No matter what's happened between me and AFTV or me and Robbie or whatever else, I'm not going to go and breach the trust of the interactions that we had when we were friends. So there's a lot of stuff that I know about AFTV, and I'm not going to go into any of those details because I feel like at the point in time with which they happened, we were in a place of trust. But what I would say is that Robbie knows DT more than I do, and I am not surprised. I was not surprised today when all of this came out, not in the slightest. And I go further than that. I would say that I have known for a long time, it's a matter of time, that DT will self-destruct. I am actually surprised that DT lasted as long as he did in terms of having this platform and not sort of self-destructing in a way. I think he's done well to last as many years as he has because of his nature. There's been things that have happened in the past where I think that's been sufficient. If I was running a channel, that would have been sufficient for me to say, look, no, I'm sorry, that's not what we stand for. You're not coming on. And there's even certain times where they've protected him for nothing like this. Don't get me wrong, nothing like this at all. But that shows his character, his nature. And they were, they're fed up of it as well. Don't get me wrong. It's not like AFTV don't care. During when I was there, they got fed up of it as well. But what my point is, they knew DT's character, just how I did. I've not spoken to DT in years. I don't talk to him. I disassociate with him. And people have said to me, why? And I've said, I just don't like his nature. He's just not a nice person. So for me, this is just, this was an inevitability, unfortunately.
And can I just also add very quickly, again, I don't know DT, and I really do just want to move on and talk about the game and talk about what's coming up and transfers and all of that. But there were rumours going around for some time about, women beating and stuff like that. And I just thought he was taking a lot of stick for nothing because, I did actually feel sorry for him. And I sided with a lot of his opinions when it came to football. I actually agreed with him a lot. I've got no personal issues against him. But, at the end of the day, there were rumours. And you should at least have checked if you didn't know. And I'm just dubious that they didn't. But we'll leave it at that.
But you know what? The last thing I'd say is that the reason why I have not been on talking terms with DT is the one thing that I despise is that bullying way of going about things, where you size people up. You look at who someone is before you decide what sort of energy you're going to go with. DT has tried to intimidate many, many people. And he swore on a video where the people that he was swearing about were Ty and Chris. So, Chris, Ginger Chris, the old guy on TV. And I kind of think to myself, why is it that you're picking on those two? You know, why is it that you're kind of like abusing them or using certain language about them? In the past, it's challenged people to boxing fights and that sort of stuff. And I remember there's many people will know Rants and Bants. You know, his YouTube thing, yeah. Rants and Bants said, fine, I'll do it. And all of a sudden he couldn't or didn't. And, you know, I just kind of feel like he seemed to be very selective. And that, to me, is what a bully does. And he tries to intimidate people that he senses were weaker than them. And with what we've read today, he's done all of this to a woman. And, you know, I think it stinks of the reason why I have no respect and never had any respect for DT, because I've had numerous spats with him on Twitter. It's not something I like to do too publicly. I don't really do that with anyone else. But with him, I felt compelled because I felt like I'm not going to allow you to believe that I'm scared of you through trying to like almost not let myself down or let my reputation down. I'm sorry. I'd rather sacrifice, you know, that maturity or that reputation that people think that I have in terms of not being like petty or disrespectful, because I'm just not willing for him to think he can bully me. And then he just stopped. So when you stand up to him, he stops. And what he's done to a woman, it's just disgraceful.
No, I agree, Mo, 100% what you're saying. The only thing that bothers me in all of this, and the only thing I can say is I just don't feel quite comfortable with how easily they just so-called friends that they've known for years, they could just toss aside. Now, if it was one of my mates, for example, and he did something like that, I'd be extremely disappointed. I'd slate him, I'd tell him whatever, and whatever he deserves, and he gets. However, if you've known someone for many, many, many years, do you just disown them, or do you try to make them better people? Do you try to help them? And that's where I go with the handling of things, you know. Yeah, but it is what it is.
Well, look, for me, Lev, if a really close friend of mine does something disgraceful publicly, I'll obviously not condone them, but I'll just say, look, you know, all I can do is just not comment, and I'll say what they need to hear privately. But the fact of the matter is, maybe AFTV isn't very friendly to him.
No, you've got money. Help. Send them on some sort of courses and stuff. You know, you can help. You can be there.
No, but what I mean, Lev, is that I felt like, let's say, for example, someone like Lee Judges, yeah, nice guy at AFTV. If you got a crowd of like 5 or 6 AFTV contributors and someone came in the room and said something nasty about Lee Judges, said, oh, that Lee Judges, he's a prick, I can guarantee you, out of the 5 or 6 people there, you pick any random selection of AFTV people, majority of them would have come to Lee's defense. And they would have been like, no, Lee's a nice guy, this, that, the other. That would have been true for Kelechi, for Ty, for Claude, for a lot of people. When it came to DT, actually, do you know what? In my time there weren't that many people, if any people, who would have said, hold on a second, no, DT's a really nice guy. It's business. DT generated views. I don't think he generated love. Well, but anyway,
good point,
the one last thing I want to say as well is that, you know, actually, you know what? It's not all about DT and it's not all about AFTV and all that sort of stuff. There's a victim out there, and you know, I hope she's okay, and I hope she feels like she's had justice today, because it sounds like she went through a really, really tough ordeal.
I agree, and it's been very different views on this that has been said. It's obviously everybody has their view, and I just want to ask Tom a question here.
Tom's looking a bit scared now. Tom, can you ask him something controversial? Because I can see he's so ducky.
I like Tom. Tom is all right. Tom.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Arsenal have requested time off. Fixtures have been postponed. What have they done? I know you do transfer shows every day, so you know more about this than us. What have they been doing with this time off? Who they close to sign? And what's going on? We at the end of the day, moving on from AFTV, Robbie and DT, the bigger and the more important thing here is Arsenal, and we're still very, very short in midfielders. I'm sure we all agree. So what's happening, Tom, man? Who's coming in midfield?
I mean, at the moment, no one right now. It doesn't look like we're going to be signing anyone in midfield at the moment. I know there's this Artur kind of story that keeps coming through from Juventus. However, we now only have 2 games until we get back our midfielders from the African Cup of Nations. And I think there is also almost a feeling at the club that if we can get through kind of these two games, there's no guarantees the Liverpool game is going to go ahead yet at the moment either. We don't know whether or not that's going to take place. They're monitoring the situation at Arsenal every day, but we could hear on Wednesday that the club are going to put in a request to postpone that fixture as well. We're going to have to wait and see. There's no kind of indication that the players have yet returned that have been off and that missed the Spurs game. So we don't know on that situation. And we're just about to let Pablo Mari go on loan, which I mean shortens our squad even further. You couldn't arguably write it, could you? But in regards to midfield, I think there is an element, and I was speaking to my colleague Kai Karnak at Football London earlier on our show we do on the press box on the Arsenal Way about this, and he raised the point that the fact that there is only 2 games between now and the end of the African Cup of Nations, Arsenal don't need to panic into a signing. However, it is my opinion that I think that is naive, and I do think Arsenal still do need to bring in a midfield signing to give us that additional quality, not just cover, but I mean, Granit Xhaka has shown to be a liability this season. 2 red cards, giving away a penalty against Man City. Lokonga has looked good at the beginning of the season, but I think his inexperience has shown as well, especially in the game against Forest. I think in previous matches as well, his inexperience has shown, and he is young and he's going to develop and he's going to have inconsistencies. Partey himself has, been inconsistent. And then we've got El Neni, who we know gives you a 6 out of 10 most games, and he's very safe. But in terms of if we're going to get to the top 4, we do need a midfielder. So it would be, in my opinion, a massive mistake if we didn't go and sign a midfielder. The striker situation, though, is different. We're very much in for Vlahovic. We're very much trying to chase him, but the club might not be a problem. The player might not even necessarily be a huge problem, because although people want to say that he's not interested, we should move on. If the player wasn't interested, Arsenal wouldn't be going this hard for the player. That's just fact at this point. The player would be open to a move. The biggest issue is the agent, as it always has been, and that's proven to be the biggest problem.
Okay.
Can we just have a moment for Tom? The ultimate professional. Not even a
flinch,
even a nibble. Just consummate professional ease.
I just love the fact he was sitting closer to the wall when we had the previous.
There's actually a massive gap.
And then how he moved in close when you talk about transfers. Oh, this is me.
Transfers. Football. I can talk about football here.
Football London said I can talk about that. That's all right.
We've got a couple of super chat I want to go through. Gonzalo, anyone else gets the vibe that Arteta purposely loaned that player so that we could lower our player count to meet the quota? Could be low-key genius. I'm not sure if he would. And we've got Daniel from Daniel Bailey TV. Says, evening guys, hope you're all well. Thank you, Daniel. Hope you're good too as well.
Shane, just an interesting thing. Never mind loaning out. Xhaka, if I'm not mistaken, went off in the 81st minute of the Arsenal-Liverpool game. Yeah? At Anfield. Now, from when I drew up the list, because I was looking at our squad and who's available and who meets the rules, we were 1 player short of the 13. And obviously, I could be wrong. I don't have the latest inside information. But Xhaka was excluded. If Xhaka was included, that would have meant that we have 13 outfield players with appropriate experience, which is the Premier League terminology. So I just wonder, 20 minutes to go in that game against Liverpool, Xhaka's now suspended, and Arteta would be obviously acutely aware of this. And he's sitting there. I wonder if he's sitting there thinking, hold on a second. If we get an injury now, then it's very publicly plausible that we can postpone that game. And I wonder if Arsenal were really, really smart about this, and whether the loans going out were part of it. And you look at our fixture list now, if we can get the Arsenal-Liverpool game rearranged, let's say to the 27th, a week later again, we've only got Burnley before that. Burnley at home. And you kind of think to yourself,
Burnley probably will put in a request to cancel it before Arsenal do.
Well, I have a weird feeling they won't. If you look how many fixtures that they've got compared to Man City, I think they're like 5 or 6 games behind like the leaders. There is going to come a point where you have to say, look, we're not going to have the time for you to catch up, because you've missed so many games, and so half of it's been their fault. But as I said, their last couple of games, Burnley have been against Southampton and Watford, 2 relegation rivals. I think they'll see that Arsenal game as a game they probably would have lost anyway, and they'll field who they need to field to kind of appease things, knowing it was a game they were going to drop points. That's all alleged. That's all just theory, by the way. But that's just kind of how I view the Burnley situation.
Perry, thank you very much for your kind super chat, and thank you very much for your kind words earlier. I saw what you written in a chat. It's just that we were going on a conversation and we couldn't respond. If we can't get Arthur Melo, then do you think we should go for Asamoah or Bruno Ramirez? Both are great midfielders from Lyon. This Wasim Aura thing has been going around for such a long time, man. Mo, what's your thoughts?
Listen, Bruno Guimaraes should probably be my pick. Yes. Brilliant player. Arta, I'm not sure about personally. I feel like I haven't seen enough of him, and I want someone that's starting week in, week out, and can come in and hit the ground running straight away. So, that makes me want Guimaraes more. I also think that I don't know why the Basuma rumours have dropped off entirely. I'd love to go and get him. I think he's one hell of a player and a real good Premier League experience. So, look, I just hope that we go and do something. I really hope that we're going to do something. And yes, we can bide more time. North London Derby now postponed. Maybe even the Liverpool game could well be postponed. Yes, we can bide more time. But come on, man, let's get someone in. I really want to see.
Yeah, I just think I agree with you. I think if we buy in time, then we should be doing something with that time. And unfortunately, we haven't done anything. Lev, do you sorry, go on.
But the majority of stuff, look, Tom will tell you this. He as out of the four of us, he's the transfer window guy. But we know that most of the stuff happens at the end of the window. Yeah. So it's all well and good kind of saying, get it done. But that's for the money clubs. When you talk about dominoes falling and getting that circle in action, that transfer wheel in motion, the money clubs do that. And then everything else follows. We're not that club. Unless we're going to go out and do the Vlahovic deal, which is us acting like a money club, that's kind of like, it would be an exception. We don't do that too frequently. Pepe, maybe we've done it. Vlahovic might be the next one. But I think we're waiting for a bit of movement personally. And in the latter part of the window, we'll take our step.
Yeah. This is an interesting comment. It's made me smile. Dusan Vlahovic is the new Asim Aura, who was the new Karim Benzema. Yeah, these are all things that have been going on for a very long time. Lev, do you think Aubameyang's return to Arsenal will change things? Or is he's not going to play because of his unfortunate medical condition?
Do you know what? It's
and
funny you say that.
And do you want to tell us about your mate who was sitting behind Aubameyang?
Well, I've got a very, very good friend of mine, who
this is where Shaheen's been this entire time, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. And if you guys really want to know where I was,
he was setting up our African branch.
If you really want to know where I was, first of all, what you need to do is hit the like, because there's 950 people watching and not enough likes. And second of all, I finally managed to negotiate the truth with Tom, and he let me out of underneath his floorboards. So if you want to know where
we don't want to know what he agreed to doing to get out of that. I managed to
cut a deal with him. But yeah, go on, tell us about your friend, man.
Well, look, so a very good friend of mine. He's Cameroonian. I've got a Cameroonian friend. He's gone over to Cameroon to watch the AFCON, and the hotel he was staying at, Aubameyang was there. Aubameyang was there with his brother, and he actually sent me a picture. I might even find it if for some of you guys that will doubt me. But yeah, he was sitting at a table behind Aubameyang, and Aubameyang, typically, like many people I would know, is talking on his phone, speakerphone, because he's thinking, obviously he's in Africa, no one knows who he is. And he's speaking in his dialect. My mate can talk that dialect. He could hear Aubameyang saying basically that he had got inflammation of the heart, not lesions. The papers are reporting it as lesions, and was saying that he was looking for a specialist out there to try and ascertain exactly what's going on, and if it wasn't anything too serious, that he was going to fly back to London to be with Arsenal. And lo and behold, this morning or today, we've seen in the news that is the case. So I don't think, there's some people saying it's holding up the deal. He doesn't want to go, and we're waiting to try and sell him, or potentially Barcelona or something like that. I don't know if that is the case. I think, to me, it looks like Arteta's already made his mind up. Why would you go all out for someone like Vlahovic if you haven't made your mind up? So I don't think that is the case. I don't think that's the hold up. I think the hold up is purely down to Vlahovic's team. You know, and the one thing I'm worried about is why we've decided to hold out on the central midfield situation while this is going on. We've had ample time to get this resolved. Ample. You could have even gone and got Wijnaldum on loan, or you know, just fill that gap, because you know those centre midfielders are coming back in the next couple of weeks anyway. So just fill the gap for now. You know, get these games over the line. That's one thing I think we've done wrong, and that's you know where I'm doubting us at the moment.
Mo, do you think Arsenal are trying to hold out and buy some time and wait for Partey to come back and El Neni? So then they would say, okay, we've got Partey back, Xhaka is here, El Neni is here, Lokonga is here, so that's the midfield sorted. At least we go all out for Vlahovic, who apparently has just scored a great goal.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, we've got
another 10 million added to the price tag.
I was hoping he'd be on the bench today. I was wanting to check the starting lineup. Obviously, busy doing this because I heard I saw something earlier suggesting that maybe he might be on the bench, and I just thought, oh, that's an interesting one, because if he is, and that would be quite a telltale sign. Unfortunately, not. Look, are Arsenal trying delaying tactics? No, I wouldn't say these aren't our tactics. I think what we're doing is saying that we currently don't have our strongest team. Every match day that comes around, let's have a look at who's available. And if the rules allow us to delay and play that game with a stronger team, we'll do it. That's what the rules allow. And Arsenal, are, as we all said earlier on, we're happy that Arsenal are doing that. So, you know, it's one of those really weird ones where you need one COVID case, only one COVID case, in order to then present that postponement application of the Premier League, which can include other injuries. Yesterday, Leeds played, or the day before, I can't remember, and they didn't have that one COVID case, even though they had a very depleted squad. So you're now almost in the territory where you're thinking, you kind of want a COVID case in the camp to give yourself the option. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? This is how stupid the rules are, that you're finding yourself in that position. If they kind of amped it up and said, no, you need 5 COVID cases or 10 COVID cases or something, as in the reason why you can't fulfill that fixture has to be because of COVID in the majority, not the one lone example. That would make more sense. And then teams wouldn't be able to apply these delaying tactics, if that's what we're calling them. That's my take on it.
Okay. Tom, what about you? What do you think?
Whatever happens, it's going to run. It's going to be a really complicated one to do. The agent, as I said, is the issue with Vlahovic. Like, I can't remember who exactly was, either the CEO or the owner of Fiorentina. Someone in the chat box should definitely be able to say which one, did a interview with the Financial Times where they basically revealed that the agent was asking for just 8 million euros himself to renew his contract. Like that's what he was asking, just to renew the player's contract to Fiorentina. And on top of that, wanted a 10% sell-on clause. Not for Fiorentina, the agent. And that's unheard of. I've never heard of any kind of situation where the agents ask for a sell-on clause to themselves. So just for context, if we sold him for 100 million quid after signing him, we then owe the agent 10 million pounds of that sell-on, which is crazy. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think he's being difficult on purpose, Tom, just to stop the deal happening?
No, I think that the agent recognises that he's got one of the most sought-after players in the world, and that in the summer, there will be, without a shadow of a doubt, loads of clubs looking for Vlahovic. It's just that in this moment, Arsenal are really kind of the only club that can, because of the January window, the situation of a lot of other clubs. You're at a point here where only Arsenal can really go for it. City aren't going for a striker in this window. Other clubs that were interested in him aren't going to go from this window. Tottenham want to do a deal in the summer. Paratici is very close to kind of those that are around this deal. They want to do a deal in the summer. So Arsenal are trying to do this now because they feel like if they really press, they've got a good chance of like beating out the competition for his signature if they do it right now. It's just such a hard deal for us to do. Like, it's not one that fans should be, if we don't get this done, pointing the finger at Arsenal going, this is embarrassing, we're Arsenal, we should be getting this deal done. It's not that. It's not kind of that situation. It's very much on their side of things. And I think that what this should do is actually Arsenal fans should look at this in a positive sense. Vlahovic is considered behind Haaland and Mbappe the next big young forward coming through in this generation of talents. And Arsenal are trying to buy this guy. That should fill us with confidence that, they are looking to be ambitious. They are looking to try and sign. We're being linked with Yuri Tielemans as well as another player that's popped up. A friend of mine, Ben Jacobs, who works at CBS Sports. He works very closely with Leicester. Shut up, Lev.
Name dropping.
We've had him on the show. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And like he talked about specifically how Arteta really admires Tielemans. And they're looking at as a possibility of possibly a summer deal for Tielemans, which would be great. And I think that as we should take the positives from this, that Arsenal you're very much looking to be ambitious in the transfer window.
I think Tom's hit the nail on the head, Shaheen, there. Exactly what I was thinking. We're going for the right type of players and we're showing intent to get these players. Yeah. Can I just bring something up quickly as well before we go as well? Because I think it was really important. And I think these guys are doing a great job. Robert Peters. Hi, guys. Massive fan. He works at the Royal Free Hospital in Hampstead. We know it's not easy to work at hospitals at the moment. It's crazy. He gets excited. He checked the patients and thought Mo was on it, was excited, but wasn't him. So, Mo, I thought I'd give you the opportunity. Say hello to Robert Peters, who's been excited and working, I'm sure, very, very hard at the Royal Free Hospital in Hampstead. You make his day.
Robert Peters, listen, man, hello. And what I'll do, if I'm ever in Hampstead, I will just start running into the road with my eyes shut in the hope that I have an excuse to see you at the hospital. That's my promise to you. So.
Or just walk in and ask.
No, he wanted me as a patient, okay? That's what
he wants you hurt, Mo. He wants you hurt and he wants you in there. Hurry up, get yourself in there.
Making me feel like I never want to see you, Robert.
Thank you for that, Lev. And obviously, we'll send our best wishes to everybody that works for NHS and works in hospitals. You guys have been phenomenal during this pandemic, and we're ever so grateful. I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of 4 of us.
Listen, careful what you say, because if you've been attending like secret parties and stuff, then just say nothing.
No, I haven't been attending any secret parties, man.
Fine.
Are you sure? I think there's some footage coming from where you was. I was just about to say where you was as well. You nearly spilled the beans there.
No, I wasn't there. I was just here.
Keep asking, guys. Keep asking.
I haven't been anywhere. Lads, Serbian Giza coming. Let's get Wijnaldum. Put him next to Thomas, secure the midfield, try to get top 4.
Thank you. Would be a great signing. You know,
it's so simple as well, Mo. No,
yeah. Tom, why is that not happening? For God's sake!
I think Wijnaldum's. I don't think from Wijnaldum's perspective he's open to it. I think he wants to try and make the PSG situation work. So
I don't know why you bring Tom on this channel. I swear, honestly, for the bad news.
So unprofessional as well with it.
Tom.
Sorry.
Anyways, guys, we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes. Thank you very much for watching. We had around 1,100 people watching at some point. And that's a combination of views between Arsenal Lounge and Mo's channel. Thank you very much for watching. We're very grateful to you giving us your time, watching us and hearing our thoughts. Please hit the like button in this video. Make sure you comment. Tell us afterwards and write your comments on everything we discussed today. Make sure you subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV, and subscribe to Mo Haider's channel. If you want to hear Mo's thoughts on games, after games, go and check out his fan cam reaction. I always do a fan cam reaction on Mo's channel as well. Every day, 8 o'clock in the morning, if you're awake like me, you can watch Tom with Transfer Daily and Transfer News. And just to wrap things up, final thoughts, Tom.
Yeah, as always, mate, just for having me on. Fingers crossed that we can get some deals over the line. And yeah, it'd be great if we could sign Vlahovic, but don't set yourself up for disappointment, is all I'd say. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, Mo, again.
No, it's good. Thank you, man. Thanks. It's good. It's GMZ, Mr. Nice Guy. This show is too boring. I don't recall sending.
He's only just come in. That guy. I don't know what he's watched and how long he's watched.
You're lucky. This is my first show back. Otherwise, I would have just blocked him.
He was only saying last week I was good. He said last week it was the best show he's ever seen. That lad.
None of that. That is feedback. Let's take it graciously. We appreciate you sending the message.
Do better next time, Shaheen.
We'll bear it in mind. We'll try and be more interesting. Tom, I reckon that's directed to you. The next time I ask you about Vlahovic and Wijnaldum, all I want to hear you say,
he's coming.
Mo, what's your last thoughts?
All right, my last thoughts. I'm going to go with a non-football one. I'm going to talk about how you can ensure that no matter what you do, you have longevity in what you do and respect in what you do. And that's down to integrity, okay? It's going back to the AFTV thing. If you can just make sure whatever you're doing privately, you can also do publicly, that is, for me, my definition of integrity. And if you do that, cream rises. Over the long run, people will see your character, they'll see your personality, and you won't get caught up in any scandals or anything like that. So anyone that's pursuing a YouTube thing or anything slightly public, integrity, that's key. Have a look at Tom, the way he just stayed out of it. A little bit of brains, a little bit of integrity. That's all you need.
So what? Because I got involved, I got no brains then. Because I was chatting with you.
They're your words. They're your words.
Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Nor have I on that basis. But what I'm saying is that, you know, you have to, integrity is the key. And you've got integrity. Because nothing that you've said publicly, you wouldn't be deviating from that privately. And that's the point. If you're true to yourself, if you're doing what, you know, if the way you act behind closed doors when no one's watching is good enough, if that's held to a good standard in your own mind and the way you conduct yourself, then there'll be no problems. That's what we should be trying to do as people. And
thank you for your wise word, Mr. Haider. I'm sure a lot of people are liking it as well, and a lot of people will appreciate it. Lev, what about you?
I haven't got anything as deep as Mo. I'm sorry. I don't have anything that deep. However, what I will say is I love you guys. I love the loungers. I love talking about this game. I love talking football with the fans. Listen, one thing I will really cherish is the way we've united in this last couple of days. We're united as a fan base. Let's keep it going. That's what I would say. We're on a roll. We're getting a team that we're starting to be a bit more proud of. We're going for the right type of players. If it doesn't happen, don't lose your shit if we don't get Vlahovic. Don't start throwing your toys out of a pram like an idiot. We are going in the right direction, it seems. Now, whether it's with Arteta or it's not is another matter. I'm not saying Arteta is the right man, but the team is starting to come together and galvanize us as a fan base. So let's keep that going. Stay true. Stay strong as Gooners, and we'll get there. And thank you for the support again.
Master Roshi, rather.
And that is the best comment that's been made on this channel today. That there.
Yeah. From me,
I'll close down my account now, Mishi. That was me.
Yeah. I'm very happy to be back. I'm very grateful for all the kind messages that you guys left for me whilst I was not here. I've missed doing this show. I've missed Mo and Tom and Lev, and again, I'm thankful to Lev who's kept things going whilst I was not here. For those of you who don't know, we do this show every Monday at 8 o'clock. We discuss all Arsenal-related issues and all news and topics related to Arsenal that is out and is there to be discussed, as we did today. So thank you again. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching us. Have a wonderful evening. And Lev, you want to round things up?
Well, what do you want me to do? Press that button? Is that what you've... So you've taken the hosting duties off me, and then
I'll press the button. You just say good. You say goodbye.
You can do that as well. You do that as well. Now you've taken.
I'll just give you the opportunity to say goodbye. Go on.
No, see you later. Just do it.
See, guys, see what I have to deal with, and this is live online. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, everybody, and we'll see you. I think Wednesday we're doing a show, and then we'll see you hopefully on Monday. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.